Hello guys. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna be streaming some Roblox, and please donate. Well, I'm trying to get donated some Robux while I will be reading. So let me just go ahead and join the game. Please donate. This may take a little bit. Alright, so we're in. I'm just gonna stand music so you guys can hear me while I'm reading. Right here, this is a good stand. Right here. Just going on with my device? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm donated right there. Alright, let me get the story out. Just get my phone, let me get the stories. So the story I'm reading is The Mysteries of Blackfeather Woods. Okay. So here we go. 911 call. June 20th, 2021. 12:04 a.m. Dispatcher, 911, what is your emergency? Caller, hello, my name is Kevin. My name is Kevin Watts, and I need help. Please, for the love of God, please, someone. They are all dead. Dispatcher, who is dead? Caller, my friends. All four of them are gone. Oh my God, this is my fault. This is my fault. I did this to them. Dispatcher, where are you located, Kevin? Caller, I am in Blackfeather Woods, just near the top of Kings Canyon. Hurry, please, I don't want to be out here alone anymore. Dispatcher, stay where you are, Kevin. The police and forest rangers are coming to your location right away. Caller, oh God, what have I done? What have I done? Police report. Deputy Fuller, June 20th, 2021. Tonight at 12:04 a.m., our operators received a call about someone in distress with probable casualties. We ventured out to the location in Blackfeather Woods and found the caller Kevin Watts, huddled around a large campfire. It looks like he had buried all his companions' camping gear just to keep the flames going. Hold on. Okay. He was covered in both dirt and blood. As my flashlight rested upon him, he immediately sprang up and ran towards me. I unlatched my service pistol, but did not draw nor fire. He pulled me in an embrace and began to weep. He demanded that I take him out of the woods immediately. Watts seemed extremely uneasy as we traveled back to my cruiser. He kept insisting that I stick to the path no matter what. As I put him in the back of the squad car and drove off, Watts, the manure, seemed calm. I brought him back to the station and turned him over to Chief Rogers for questioning. Suspect interview. Kevin Watts, 1:37 a.m. Interview performed by Chief Trevor Rogers. Hold on. Chief, state your name and date of birth for the record. Kevin Watts, May 18th, 2003. Chief, you have the right to wait for questioning until you feel mentally fit to do so or with the presence of legal counsel. Are you sure you wish to proceed at this current time? Yes. Kevin, yes. No amount of time is going to make this any easier, and I imagine any lawyer worth their salt would advise me against telling my story. However, I have to tell you, you need to know the truth of the matter. Chief, very well. How are you feeling, Kevin? Do you need some water or coffee before we begin? Kevin, is there any chance I could get a bleep, aka cigarette? Chief, well, seeing as you are 18 and indoors at a police station, I'm going to have to go ahead and say no. Kevin, well, it was worth a shot, I guess. I'm ready to proceed then. Chief, alright, why don't you tell me what happened out there? Kevin, I am ready to tell the questions. Are you ready to listen? I don't just mean hearing what I'm saying. I mean to truly open your mind. I know you are an investigator and that you deal in hard facts, but if you are to believe me, then you must have an open mind. You need to look beyond how things look at first glance. Chief, well, let me tell you how things look at first glance. You called us saying that your friends were dead and you were in the woods. In your own words. Did this to them. We'd find you covered in blood and dirt alone. Things aren't looking so good for you, son. You would do well to come clean and tell us what happened. Kevin, oh, I'm going to tell you what happened. You just need to look past the sense of reality. Chief, I'll do my best. Now start the beginning. Why were you in the woods at night? Kevin, to be blunt, we were tired of all the crap from all the last year and a half. We were tired of all the lockdowns and social distancing, all of the masks and other restrictions. Losing our junior year was bad enough, but this is senior year. This was supposed to be our time, but instead we get no sports, no dances, and no field trips. I spent my 18th birthday alone, and that itself is a crime. So we wanted at least one full time, one last hurrah before we graduate. We went out to Blackfeather Woods to party and go camping. Chief, who is this? We, and where are they? Kevin, Mark Anderson, Claire Westbrook, Maria Sosa, and Kelly April. They were all classmates of mine at school. As for where they are, I already said they are dead, and you will never find the bodies. Chief, is that why you are covered in dirt? Did you bury them on the woods? Kevin, no. I just know they won't be found. Not in any recognizable form anywhere. Sorry. Chief, what do you mean by that? Kevin, let me finish telling you my story and you will understand. Chief, very well. What did the 5 of you do in the woods? Kevin, oh well, we did a Bible study and discussed current issues plaguing the youth of the world. What do you think we were doing? We were drinking, doing bleep, and hanging out. Well, except for Kelly. She kind of stayed back and watched us party mostly. She was always a quiet girl. She was mostly there because Maria said Kelly had been having a rough time at home lately and needed cheering up. Anyways, that besides the point. I believe around 10:30 we were gathered around the fire. That's when I told them the legend of the lost trail. Chief, the lost trail? Oh, come on now, Chief. You have been an officer a long time. You must have heard the legend of the lost trail. For decades, hikers and campers have gone missing while exploring Blackfeather Woods. The place isn't exactly the Appalachian Trail. It's not big enough to get truly lost, especially not big enough to completely disappear. The stories talk about how the lost trail that will only appear to a chosen few. It is said that it is flanked out with dead and rotting trees, that there are an oak that looks like a gargoyle guarding its entrance, trying to scare away would-be victims. Anyone who stumbles onto the trail will vanish forever. Chief, I've heard the stories, but I hardly put much stock in schoolboy tales. Kevin, oh come on, there are stories of unexplained haunting and phenomenon all over the world. The screaming tunnels in Niagara Falls, the mystery village of the Northridge in Romania, the disappearance in near Hemlock Hill Cemetery. No one can explain them, and there's a lot of smoke for there to be no fire. So all of us decided it would be fun to go looking for the trail to see if there was any validity to it. Chief, oh yes, and so what happened? Kevin, to be blunt, we found it. Maria spotted the gargoyle oak, and I swear her caramel complexion turned completely white for a moment. She started chanting and clutching the silver cross around her neck for dear life. The rest of us didn't really believe it. We figured some kids like us carved out the trees after hearing the story. Good laugh, but we still wanted to investigate further. The girls took some convincing, especially Kelly, who wouldn't say a word and kept shaking her head. After a while, she reluctantly agreed, and we all stepped into the trail together. Chief, what did you find? Kevin, at first, nothing. We walked for what felt like hours, and there was nothing to be found, just some dead trees. Then we started to notice that there was something off about the whole area. It was quiet, and I don't mean peaceful. I mean dead quiet. No crickets chirping, no squirrels rustling in the trees, not even the sound of wind blowing. We started getting that creepy feeling like we were being watched. We were about to turn around, but that's when we found it. Chief. Found what? We found a cellar hatch. It was just sitting in the middle on the ground. It didn't make any sense to us because it was too cheap to be anything government or a storm shelter. It appeared to be made of smooth wood. Kelly and Maria began to turn around and go home. But how did you come this far and not investigate? I know someone of your stature would understand. We opened the latch and we found a set of rickety stairs. Accompanying the stairs was a stench that none of us could identify. We almost couldn't go in, but we couldn't stop ourselves. We made our way down, going deeper and deeper into earth. The stairs seemed to go on forever, and the further we went and the stronger the stench became. I was ready to vomit, but then we reached the bottom. The whole area was pitch black. Even the moon didn't reach. Hold on, guys. I gotta do something real quick. Anyways, let's see, where was I? Even the moon didn't reach. Mark lit his lighter, and as soon as the walls were illuminated, that's when the screaming started. Lining the walls were entire catacombs made of nothing but bones and skulls. Even the stairs we came down were vanished from them. That was when we realized the stench of decay. Claire backed up in fear and cut herself on a sharp bone attached to a wall. I think that is what woke it up. Chief, what woke up? What the hell are you getting at, son? Kevin, hold on. Okay, as I was saying, Kevin, well, we have reached our tipping point. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is I saw. You can give me the polygraph later, and I promise I will pass. You have a choice whether you believe me or not. I am either the teen who snapped and killed his friends, as you currently believe, or I am the boy who looked pure terror in the face and lived to tell the tale. Are you ready to make your judgment, Chief? Chief, just tell me. Hold on. Oof, it's a lot to read. Hold up. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. Kevin, once a drop of blood hit the ground, the ash coating began to move. For the first time since coming on the trail, the wind blasted and swirled around us. The ash spun around and around until it started to take form. Skeletal hands formed and bones started to flow up until the outline of the figure began to take shape. The ash and dust flowed around and it looked like a living cloak of jet black. Hold on. Ash. In its eye sockets, two smoldering embers of fire blazed. The wind stopped, and only the sound of our panting as we were frozen with fear. The creature began silently stalking around the room, its feet never touching the ground. It was making a strange noise as it passed by. It stopped at each of us, and it wasn't until it got to me, that I knew what it was doing. It was smelling each of us. It came inches from my face and took a big whiff of me. It took all my courage not to break down in tears. Thankfully, the creature kept moving, and I thought it might leave us alone. It got to Kelly. The thing took a huge sniff, and I thought I saw its dust and bone jaw curve into a smile. It sniffed and sniffed again. There was a moment of tense silence, then a loud, banshee-like screech. It was just a scream, but I swear, I got the impression of a single word: unclean. The beast snapped into action. It grabbed Kelly, and I could hear a horrible sucking sound. Kelly screamed, but it did her no good. Slowly, her body started to turn to dust ash in her mouth, making the shadowy cloak grow larger. Only when Kelly was a little more than a memory and a ringing in our ears did Mark snap into action. He did a straight run at the being, but the thing was too fast. The phantom's bony arm began to snap and reform, taking the shape of a curved blade. With a single swipe, it cleaved Mark into two scattering blood everywhere. Claire let out her own banshee wail as he high school sweetheart fell to the floor in front of her. She turned and ran for the stairs. I thought she was going to get away, but that fiend had other plans. She turned and ran for the stairs. I thought she was going to get away. But wait, the bones that made up the stairs grabbed onto her legs. She fell down the stairs, wrapped around and trapping her in place. I enveloped her as she screamed into the night. I don't even terror or relief when the screaming stopped. Once it slowly turned towards me, I debated begging for my life, but in the end, I knew it was futile and that I could share the same fate as my friends. So I simply closed my eyes and I felt it come closer to me. I could feel its dusty breath on my neck. Suddenly, it released another scream. Again, I could feel the impression it was saying something with a scream, but I couldn't make it out. Then everything went quiet and I could feel the ash raining down. I opened my eyes and it was gone, as if it had never been. I knew it was my only chance, so I ran for it and pelted down the trail and through the woods, and the next thing I knew, I was at my campsite. I didn't know what to do, so I picked up my phone and called 911. I was completely blown away to find that our little incursion only took just shy of an hour. It felt like we were out there all night. I called you guys out of desperation, and here we are. So, Chief, what do you think? Chief, well, it's a hell of a story, and it would seem almost airtight, but I have a question for you. If it is true, then why did that thing leave you alive? almost done with the story, guys. I'm bugging my iPad. It's gonna die. Now that it is one part that I can't figure out, I don't know if I had to simply eat its fill, or by writing it. It was no longer the rest of my days, along with everything I saw. Chief, what is your conclusion? Chief, I could believe that someone in those woods, there is some sort of boogie no one else has ever seen or found before. In the more likely teenager went out with a group of friends to party, drugs or a psychotic snap brought on by a changing world, that he killed his friends and buried them in the woods. I'm sorry, Kevin, but I have to believe in the latter. I have to go with the officer and bloodhound canvassing. The evidence will be found soon. Bodies or the trail. I think it can only appear to those it wants to, and that's why no one has found it before and lived. Chief, well, time will tell until you will remain until your arrangement will be based on your statement. You will likely be sent to an asylum. That is, unless you drop the act and tell me the truth here and now. I have told you the absolute truth. You simply refuse to see it. Chief, then I have no choice but to officially charge you with the murder of your 4 friends, and you have the right to remain silent. Police report. Chief Trevor Rogers, June 22nd, 2021. For 2 days straight, my men have scourged the woods in search of the bodies. State troopers were called in on the 2nd day, and together they have covered every inch of the forest. Outside of the campsite, no sign of the missing teens have been found. I have spoken to the families personally and informed them of the grim news. The families have been taking it hard, especially the parents of Kelly April. Her parents were shocked that she had gone out with her friends in the first place, since her father had COVID-19. And it was possible that Kelly may have had it as well. We will until the location of the teen remains are found. Damn, it's a long story. Sorry. Police report. Chief Trevor Rogers, June 25th, 2021. Hold on. Okay, almost done. Let's see, right here. 5 days now, and still no trace of the bodies. I have made my numerous visits to Kevin Watts, who now resides in the Barlow Asylum. Desperate, my pleading, he is still under the delusion that they were killed by a monstrous creature and will not deviate from the story. Well, we were convinced that he must have buried them. New evidence may suggest to the contrary. Photos taken with Mr. Watts' smartphones feature the 5 teens together, and the timestamps read between 8 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. The idea that he could have killed, moved and buried them all in under 90 minutes is a stretch in logic that not even I would accept. We are still waiting on lab results on his clothes for clue to their resting place. Lab report, June 28th, 2021. We have finished our analysis on both the blood sample from Mr. Kevin Watts and well as the dirt particles found in his clothes. The blood sample was unremarkable, with a trace amount of alcohol and marijuana in his system. This will not be considered significant amounts of memory loss as suggested by police. The dirt and dust found on his clothes, however, is a genuine curiosity. There is a mixture of several elements found with the small sample. There is soil that is not native to North America, but is instead one common to burial sites in Western Europe. There are large components of burnt ash found throughout. However, the most curious element is traced of degraded human bone that, after extensive testing, we have carbonated it back to 600 BC. We will continue to run additional tests to discover the cause of these anomalies. Police report, Chief Trevor Rogers, July 3rd, 2021. Okay. Right here. Here we go. About to finish the story, guys. Today, we have reached the word from Barlow Asylum that at 7:32, Kevin Watts was found dead in his room. The cause of his death remains unknown. However, my officers report he died in a look of terror. That was found in a small note on his desk, torn from his journal, which had been lodged into evidence. However, with the main suspect deceased and no discovery of the bodies in 2 weeks, I am afraid the case of the murdered teens will be moved to the cold case folder and forever remain unsolved. Evidence 4. Case 2A. Continents. One letter writes from the late Kevin Watts, left on his desk. See attached photo. He comes for me tonight of this, I am sure. I still don't know why he left me live, but he is coming to finish the job. Friends, I am truly sorry for leading you into these woods. I will be joining you soon. He lives in the shadows and in the blinding lights. From him there is no refuge, no way in which to fight. We all live in fear from his face and his. He is the one whom all debates are paid. He is the bane of those who draw breath. He is the man of ash. Death. There we go. Credit is from Tenek. You can read the story on let me see the site here. So the site is called, just search up creepypasta stories to read. So the link you'll see, stories in original horror fiction. You click that link, right? So that will send you to creepypasta.com. So there it is. And that was The Mystery of Blackfeather Woods. Alright, that's it. That's the end of the stream, guys. Thank you for watching. Sorry it took so long. It was a long story, but we made it through it. So, hope you guys enjoyed that story.